Today's session, what we will be talking about is creating a Azure Repos. So basically on creating and managing repositories, cloning and syncing repositories, and then we will be talking about branching, merging, and merging strategies and using Git commands. Okay, so we'll go through the using pull requests, how exactly code reviews has to be done. Okay, those all the things we will try to sort it out. So let us start. Okay, so in the last session, probably I hope everyone has created their Azure account. Okay, so in this session, what we will do is we will go to our Azure Repo. What we'll be learning is Azure Repo, files, commits, pushes, branches, tags, and pull request. All this Azure Repo related bit, we will be going through it. Okay, so let us start. So if you see here, once you log in, right? So you need to go and and if you go here, click on the repos, okay, and then if this drill down is there, right? Click on here, and if you wanted to create a new repository, click here, new repository, and you have an option Git or TFVC. So since Git is our distributed version control system, we'll go with the distributed version control system. Okay, so let us give this name as uh, demo repo. Okay, let us add a README file. So once you click create over here, our demo repo has been I have misspelled it. T repo it says, it's okay. If you wanted to change that, what you could do is click on manage repositories, go to over here, click on rename and correct the mistake. Just click rename. Automatically the naming has to be naming will be corrected for your repo. Click back here and select your demo repo. So now if you could see from on the Azure Repo DevOps portal itself, we are able to we have created a repo, right? So if you wanted to add a few files, right? So what you could do is click on here, new and file. So let us say first file, I'll say create. So I wanted to add a few details. Let us say this is our first file. So in order to commit it, so I'll click on commit. Okay, and I would be committing to the main branch. I will say click on commit over here. So our first commit history, it will be pushed to our this particular repo. So if you wanted to see all the files, if you could see the first file has been created. Whatever the commit message we have mentioned it will be mentioned it over here. Okay. So now let us go to the ideally as a best practice, right? We won't go and code our infra as a code, but on not on the portal itself, because it is a bit cumbersome. You can't commit multiple files over here, and as a best practice we should not be doing it. Okay, so either we should use a IDEs such as Visual Code or a IntelliJ. Okay, so in order to clone this particular repo onto my local laptop, so what we will do is click on clone here. Okay, and click on this copy to either copy this URL or click on here. Okay, so and then go to our terminal. Okay, so I will go, I'll create a folder. My repo. Okay. I'll go here and I'll clone it. Okay, clone. So as I told you earlier in my last session, cloning is nothing but downloading a repository from your remote to the local laptop. So it is asking, if you could see, it is asking for a password. Okay, how you get the password? Go to your Azure Repo and click on clone again, and you will be able to see generate Git credentials. Click on that, you will get a this path token. Okay, copy that path token and enter over here. Okay, so if you could see, I have downloaded my I was able to download my repo. So how you can find it out is ls minus lrta. You would be able to see the repo name. It what when you do a git clone, right? This is my repo name. So it will create a folder as demo repo. Okay. So in order to get into that particular folder, you will say cd, that is meaning change directory demo repo. Okay. Once it has been done, if I do a ls, I would be able to see my first file. It has been downloaded over here. Okay, so you could see I'm on a main branch. Okay, so how exactly you can sync your local repo to the central repo? It is basically using our normal git commands. Okay, so let me create a file. uh, I'll say sync local to remote. Okay, .txt. This is the example for local to remote. I'll save this file. If you wanted to check the git status, you will be able to see this file is in a red color. It has to be moved to the staging area. Okay, 1 second. So now next command is git add star. Okay, so git status. So it is moved to the staging area. So let us commit it in order to move it to local repo. We'll give minus git commit minus m, committing local files. Then git push. If I do this bit, git push, so if you could see, if I refresh this, I should be able to see my sync local to remote file. Okay, the file has been moved in. Okay, so now if you wanted to move or sync from remote to local, okay, so let us create a one file called as a new file. So sync remote to local. Okay, uh, when exactly this kind of a thing it will happen is one of your friend has pushed some of the file over the from his laptop, and it has been merged with merged with okay, so it is not merged with uh, remote merged with the master, right? So at that time we will be able to do this, but okay, sync remote to local. So let me go back. Okay, so sync remote to local. So let me create this particular file. So I'll say sync local to remote. Sorry, sync remote to local. I'll say commit it. So if you could see this particular file, sync remote to local file, it has been synced at the remote server level. but if you could see on my local laptop, so that particular file doesn't exist. So in order to pull it, in order to sync from remote to local, what we need to do is we need to do a git pull. What git pull does is it syncs from remote to your local laptop. So now if I do a ls minus lrta, I should be able to see or sync remote to local file. If I wanted to check this particular file, I can say sync remote to local file. Okay, that is what I have committed when I have put a commit over here. Okay, so now if this is on the syncing bit, that is the first part. Okay, creating and managing repository, we have done it. So cloning and syncing the repository, that bit we have done it. Okay, so in case if we wanted to do the next topic is on the branching and merging strategies. Okay, so in the branching and merging strategies, it's basically, so let us take this example. Okay, so what is branching? So in branching, what happens is, so in our software development lifecycle, so we develop our code on a trunk based code or master based code. Okay, meaning at a given point in time, our master branch will be synced with the production one. Okay, so think that if there are any changes is required. Okay, so let us say after this one goes to production, right? So we wanted to make sure, we wanted to uh, there is extra work it has been given to us. So that work we need to make sure that we need to work on that particular piece of work. Okay, so for that what you do is you create your own branch. Okay, so this particular branch we will be having until this particular data. Okay, whatever the code exists until here, right? So all the code it will be moved over here. Okay, then thereafter you will make first changes, second change, okay, third change. Okay, so during that time your master will be some people will be working on it, so they will be keep on pushing the data to your master via they will create their own branch and they will merge it to the master. Okay, uh, so let us mimic this particular job. Okay, so what we will be doing is our main or master branch, let us have this is our first change, the current change whatever we have. Okay, so what we will do is here master m1 change. Okay, this is m2 change, we'll do it. M stands for a master, m m3 changes. Okay, and then let us say m4 change. According to that we will mention it out. Okay, so let us call it in the same fashion. So our branch bit we will name it as a each commit as a one file. Okay, so we will create it in such a way that we will name our files in b1, b2, b3, like that. Okay, so all these changes on the master will be m1, m1 is already there, m2, m3 and m4 and m5. Okay, so someone else change we will call it as a f1 change. Okay, so in this case how exactly we can merge our code changes, whatever it was done on the master whatever the changes done on our branches, how exactly we will be merging it to the master, those, and this someone one of our colleague who has made the changes, right? How exactly it will be merged in this sequence we will try to make the changes. Okay, so let us start it out. So in order, so we can consider the current changes whatever we have done, right? We can think of it as a m1 change. Okay, m1 change we have done it, that is m1 consists of a first file sync remote local, sync remote to local.txt, sync local to remote.txt. Okay, so we'll consider this as a baseline. Okay, so we will what we will do is we will go and make the create a new branch. So we will call our branch so as a b1 branch, or let us call it as a I'll call my name itself. Okay, so let us go inside our repo. In order to create a branch, in order to see how many branches are present, what you could do is git branch. If you do git branch, it will show you how many branches are present. So if you could see here, only one branch is there. That is the reason it is showing like this. So if you wanted to create a new branch, so what you do is you say git checkout -b, and I'll say Sangam branch. I'll say Sangam branch. Okay. If you will see, switch to a new branch, Sangam branch. So here also it will be displayed here. Displayed here. Okay. So if you wanted to check again the git branch, the last command what we run. So if you could see, there are now two branches are there. One is main branch and second is Sangam branch. So here, if you could see, it has been starred, meaning our branch, currently my repo, it is pointing to the Sangam branch. Okay. So now as part of our diagram, if you could see here, so we need to create B1. Okay. Then thereafter M1, we will push our changes to our branch. Okay. So if we wanted to, let us create a first file. So if you could do a ls minus lrt, you would be able to see it is a copy of current state, current snapshot of our main branch. Okay, so if you could see, all the files are exist. So now we will go and create a b1 file. Okay, b1.txt. So we will say this is b1 file changes. We will see it, save it. If I do a git status, I would be able to see b1.txt is still in my working area. So in order to push it to our branch, so what the command what we use is same command it is. Okay, git add star. If again we see git status, the git status will show it in a green file. Okay, so if we wanted to do a commit, we will say this is b1 file. So now the b1 file has been moved to the local repo. So in order to push it to the central repo, the command what you use is git push origin, okay, and then our branch name. In our case, our branch name is this. If you see here, our data is pushed to central repository. Okay, let us go and check it out in Azure Repo. Okay, so let us go back to here. So if you could see here, our Sangam branch exists, right? So click on this. So if you could see here, our b1.txt file exists. So whatever the comment we have passed, right? The comment, this is b1 file, and this is the b1 file changes. Okay, that is what it shows to us. Okay, so if you see here in this diagram, this b1 changes are in our branch, not in the main or master branch. So if you wanted to go back to switch back to the main branch, if you could see here in this particular main branch, that b1 file doesn't exist. 1 second. This b1 file, it doesn't exist on the main branch. So if you wanted to switch back to the Sangam branch, you would be able to see the b1.txt branch. So if you could see here, b1.txt exists, okay, on only on the Sangam branch. So as part of our diagram, in between b1 and b2, M2 changes, it has to be done on the master. So what we will do is we will select a main branch. We will click here, new file. We will call it as a m1.txt. We will create it. Okay, let us say this is m1 file. Okay, let us commit this bit. Click on here. So if you see here, this particular changes was directly done on a main or master branch. So if I go back and check in Sangam branch, that M1 file doesn't exist because both are running in a parallel parallel road. Okay. So in this one, whatever it has added on the main branch, it won't be available in the Sangam branch. Whatever it has been added in the Sangam branch, it won't be available in the main branch. So in order to go further on our changes, so what we will be doing is we will be introducing a B2 changes on the our branch. Okay, so basically let us go and create a B2 changes. Okay, so if I do a ls, even is there, so let us say b2.txt. If I say this is my b2 file, let us save this. If I do a git status, it is in a working directory. So let us push it to staging directory by adding git add star. Green color should come up. Now next, in order to push it to local repo, that is git commit minus m for a message. B2 file is created, I'll say. Okay, so in order to push it to our Sangam branch, we'll say git push origin Sangam branch. So if you go back to here, our repo, if I do a refresh over here, B2 doesn't exist now. Okay, if I do a refresh here, you will be able to find b2.txt file. B2 file has been created. Our commit messages is visible over here. Okay, so next bit is we will create a M3 file directly on the master or a main branch. Okay, let us switch back. We will create, we'll say new file. Let us say M3, right? So M1 is there. So I did a mistake here. So let us call it as a M2 in order to be in sync with the whatever diagram we have it, right? So let us rename it. So let us create a new file called as a M3. So M2 M3 dot txt. We'll say file is created. Let us commit it. Okay, so once M3 file has been created, what we could do is we need to go back and create this B3 file. Let us go and create it on our local laptop. Okay, so let us go and create a B3 file. This is our B3 file. Let us save this, add to the staging area, push it to local repo. File. In order to push it to our branch, the command is git push origin. Only in case of branches, we need to mention like this. If it is a main or master branch, we can directly do git push. Okay, so if you could see here, our if we switch it back to Sangam branch, we would be able to see just now B3 file it has been pushed. Okay, so if you see here, we are able to do this b1, b2, b3. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to merge our Sangam branch into the main or master branch. Okay, that is before making changes to M4. Okay, so before making these changes, we have to create this a second branch. Okay, so this second branch, it has to be cut after the M3 changes. So let us go back and see. Do we have M3 here? Yes, M3 is there. So let us create another branch. Now I will show you how exactly you can create a branch via portal. Okay, so click on branches over here. Okay, let us say new branch. Okay, let us call it as a we will call it as a feature branch. Feature branch. Okay, this feature branch has to be based upon the main. Okay, so if you could see, we are cutting it after M3 has been pushed. Okay, so let us call it as a feature branch and click on create. So if you see here in the feature branch, it will be replica of current state of main branch because we have cut it from the main branch. Okay, so now if we wanted to progress with the further changes, so if you see here, what we will be doing is on the feature branch, we will create a F1 file. So let us go and create a new file. We'll say new file. Let us call it as a f1.txt. So let us create it. This is f1.txt. Let us commit it to the branch name called as a feature branch. So the F1 file exists only in the feature branch. It doesn't exist in the main file. It doesn't exist in the Sangam branch. Okay. So we are following this diagram. Okay. So now what we need to do is whatever the B1, B2, B3 changes we have done it, we now have to be merge it to our main branch. Okay. Before the M4 changes. So how exactly we do it? We do it via raising a pull request. Okay. How to pull request and merging the changes of branch to the main branch. How exactly we do it? We will go through it now. Okay. So go to the pull request here. Click on new pull request. The source branch, let us select Sangam branch. Okay. So we'll give a meaningful name. Okay. Here, when raising a pull request, right, we need to mention the branch details basically. So what exactly we are doing it. So we a proper this title is nothing but our in our we send out a mail, right? In that one subject line will be there, right? Like that we need to mention it a proper title. So we'll say merging Sangam branch. Okay. So we will mention below files has been modified in this PR. PR stand for a pull request. Okay. So here we need to pass detailed information. So saying that what exactly the change it has happened. So b1.txt, a brief description we need to give it. Reason being is your the reviewer doesn't know about what exactly you were working on, right? So in order to get the review of your pull request, right? So we need to make sure that the files should be we should make sure that we have a proper description so that the other person, whoever is reviewer is there, right, he would be able to understand what all the changes are there and what exactly we are doing it here. Okay, so let us how much it is possible we need to mention it out. Okay, so I will just give like this because this is a demo purpose. Okay, so I'll say create a pull request. So if you could see merging Sangam branch, so it says no merge conflicts. Okay, so the negative scenarios we will be doing it in tomorrow's session. How exactly merge conflict issues comes up and how exactly you need to solve it out. But this is a positive scenario. So there are the files we haven't touched, the common files. It's an independent file. So we are able to see it over here. Okay. There are no merge conflicts, meaning it is we haven't worked on the existing files. Okay. So we can happily merge these changes. So when we merge it, right? So what exactly it does is, if you could see here, the B1, B2, B3, whatever changes we have done, right? These all the things will be added over to our here. So this is our first B1 change, B2 change, B3 change. Okay, note that this B1 will be like here because the feature branch, it has been already created. Okay, so let me correct that. Yeah, yeah. After the creation of a feature branch, then only we are merging it. Okay, so once it has been merged, all these three changes will be there. Okay, so let us go and merge it. So if we have set a approval process, that we need to some 3 or 4 people, depending on the our branching strategy, these all the approval process will come into picture. As of now, it's a happy scenario, so there is no restrictions. We can go and merge it. Okay, so if I say complete, what it will do is it will ask you. Okay, so let us say complete associated work item. So if you could see whatever our changes, it will be merged over here to the main branch. So we'll say complete merge. Okay, so if you could see, it has been completed and it has been completed. So if I go back to main branch, so if you could see, my Sangam branch is been deleted. Okay, and the changes, whatever the B file on the Sangam branch was there, right? The B1 file, B2 file, B3 file, it is merged now to main branch. Okay, this is called as a pull request, raising a pull request and merging a code from branch to the main repo, main branch. Okay, from a feature branch to your main branch. Okay, so now the next part. So we have cut a feature branch called as F1. Okay, so now B1, B2, B3 has been merged to the main branch. So now we will be creating a M4 changes. Let us go over here. Let us say, click here. Let us add a new file called as a m4.txt. So we will copy it. We'll say this bit. Click on commit. The file has been committed. So if you could see, M4 file is there, but this M4 file doesn't exist here because we have cut the branch of a feature branch before M4 checking in. Okay, so now what we could do here is our M4 changes, right, is pushed to the master branch. Now we need to, the feature branch, we need to merge it to the main or master branch. So let us start it out. Okay, so start out this merging of feature branch into our master branch. So let us do that. Let us go to the pull request. So if you go to the pull request, let us say new pull request, feature branch to the main branch. So we'll say merging feature branch to main. If you click on create, it will be created. A pull request will be created. If you go back here again, since I have created this bit, that is the reason it is showing here. If you go back to here, our changes active. Your colleagues, if they have raised it, that also you should be able to see it over here. If you see here, this particular PR has been created. So now we wanted to merge this particular change to the main branch. So M4 changes is already there. Let us merge this bit. Okay. Another point in to be noted. So if I say complete, right, here I have an option. Do you want if my feature branch work is over, it's better to, as a best practices, as a best practice, we need to delete it out. Okay, so that there won't be any stale data. Okay, so we will choose this delete of a feature branch. So now let us go and complete the merge. So if you see here, it's a merging the pull request. If you could see, it has been completed. If I go back to the files, the feature file, the merged from the feature file, right? f1.txt, it has been merged to the f1 branch. So this activity is also done. Okay. So now the last one is creation of a m5.txt, that you can do it via browser as well as via browser as well as via our local laptop. Okay, so if you see here, we are still on branch, Sangam branch. In order to switch the main branch, what you use the command is, you use the command called as a git checkout. Note that it is without the -p. I'll say main. If you see here, now we have switched back to the main branch. So if you could see here, our local copy doesn't have the latest and greatest copy of our main branch, which is there in the remote. So in order to sync it, the command what you use is git pull. If you could see here, file, this it says create mode. These are all the files it has been created. If I see here, all these files it has been created. Before that, we had less files, only 3 txt files were there. Now all the files are, it has been added. So if we wanted to create a m5.txt, this is m5. So let us go and save it. Git status to check the status. Git commit to move the git add to push it to the staging area. Git committed to push to our local repo. Pushing file to local repo. No, central repo it is. Okay. Central repo. We will do push, git push from local laptop to our Azure repo, central repo. So M5, if you could see here, if I do a refresh, m5.txt has been added in just now, right? So if you click on history, right, it will clearly show what all the changes it has been done, right? So if you could see here, our whatever the changes we have done, right? The B1 was added, right? So if you click here, the M1, M2, M3 was added. The B1 files were added, okay? And then the feature branch was added. All these things you can see it in this commit history. You should be able to compare it, okay? And if you wanted to roll it back, you should be able to do it, okay? These are all the things we should be able to do it, okay? So this is it for today's session. We'll see, yeah, this code reviews as we go along, right? We will be doing the code reviews because this is just a dummy demo, right? So actual project we will be working upon. So that we will be doing it in a tomorrow session. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you all for your. I mean, if you have any doubts, right, you can go and click over here. I have shared this particular link. Okay, you can enter the credentials over here. Sorry, any questions if you have, you can ask it over here. Thank you.